All right, guys, this video is going to talk about displacement versus the total distance traveled, okay? So the definition for displacement is the distance from the starting point, okay? Now, our example is down here. It says someone walked 3 miles away from the starting point and then walked the same 3 miles back to the starting point. Their displacement is 0 because they're back at the starting point. They're not away from the starting point anymore. Okay, so if you think about this like a length of line on a fishing pole, you throw it out, you reel it back in, you cast it out, reel it back in. So once you've reeled it all the way back in, that displacement is 0. Now, let's say you throw 3 meters out and you leave it there. That displacement is the 3 meters. Okay, so if you're 3 meters away from where you started, that is your displacement. Now, this example, the person went back to where they started, so their displacement is 0, okay? Now, let's talk about total distance traveled. Total distance traveled is a little bit different. Total distance traveled is any distance that you travel in any direction. So if we talk about that same example, somebody walked 3 miles away from the starting point and then walked those same 3 miles back to the starting point, their total distance traveled is 6 miles. So if you think about this like a fitness tracker that counts your steps, it's going to count all 6 of those miles that you walked, okay? So it's a little bit different than displacement. Displacement is your distance from where you started, and total distance counts all the walking, all the distance that you traveled, even if you end back in the same place. Now, this is what it would look like on a graph. So we've got the same graph here on both sides, but we're going to talk about them differently. So on this graph, they walk 13 meters away, they walk 6 meters closer, and then they walk another 7 meters back to the starting point. So at the end, their distance is 0. So their displacement is 0, okay? Now, if we think about that, talking about the total distance traveled, we come over here and this person walked 13 meters away, then walked 6 meters closer, and then walked another 7 meters closer. So their total distance traveled is all 26 of these meters, okay? So we're talking about a Fitbit. That Fitbit's going to count all those 26 meters that you walked. On this one, we're just talking about your displacement. So they walked away from the starting point and then they walked all the way back, right? So their displacement is 0 because they're back at the starting point. Now, if they had stopped right here, their displacement would be 7 meters because they are 7 meters away from the starting point right here, okay? So displacement is your distance from the starting point, and total distance traveled is all the miles that you walk, no matter what direction you're walking in.